Yo, 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 happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. My name is Justin Moore, founder of Creator Wizard, where I teach you how to find and negotiate your dream sponsorships. Back at you with another live stream. It's a beautiful day here. Actually, it's raining a lot here in Minnesota, but it's a beautiful day. And there's a lot of reasons why it's a beautiful day. And I'll get to that. But today's live stream is all about, I titled it, Why is Brand Deal Feedback So Stupid? So if you've ever done deals before, you know that you may get very excited about a deal that you do with the brand. You create the content, vibes are at an all-time high, and then you submit the draft content to the brand, and they come back to you with what feels like absolutely insane feedback. And so today I wanted to talk about why do brands pull this type of thing? And to be honest, when you receive this type of challenging feedback from brands, sometimes it can, I get it. It can maybe put you off from, potentially wanting to collaborate with brands in the future. You're just gonna be like, you know what, this is such a pain in the butt. I don't know if I want to do this. And so that's what we're going to dig into today. So I am live across Twitter or X, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. I don't even know what else. I for some reason, I can never remember what platforms I'm going live on every week. But yeah, let me know where you're tuning in from. I see we've got Bryce from the Root Group tuning in on Instagram. We've got Trey Kearney tuning in on Instagram as well. Let's see who we've got over on YouTube and LinkedIn. We've got Delilah. What's going on, Delilah? Good to see you here. And so obviously, as I mentioned every week, these live streams that I do are for y'all. So any questions you have around sponsorships and brand deals and negotiations, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions a bit later in the live stream. Trey Kearney says she's tuning in from New Jersey. We've got Grow with Zia tuning in as well. Good to see you all here. So let's kick it off. Actually, first, I gotta share a really special announcement before we dive into today's topic, which is that pre-orders for my book Sponsor Magnet are now live. Holy cow, guys. Can you believe it? I have been talking about the book. I've been writing the book. It's been the year of the book for me. And so I can't believe today is finally here. And the site just looks sick. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I don't know. I wasn't planning on doing this, but can I just share my screen and show you what it looks like? Because it looks so dope and I'm very proud of it. I have gone over every single inch of this. There we go. All right. What do we think here? This is one of my favorite things is the book moves as you scroll down the page. We've got overview about the book. I have some amazing testimonials. I felt honestly so grateful. Honestly, gratefulness is what I've been feeling with these testimonials that I've got, or kind of these quotes that I got. I got an amazing quote from Pat Flynn, from Justine, who runs partnerships at Kit, formerly ConvertKit. Amazing quote from Ali Abdal. I have this whole section around the pre-order bonuses. So I'm doing this kind of cool thing where if you pre-order the book now, you'll get access to the first chapter as well as 15 negotiation scripts that'll help you make more money on your deals ASAP. And then of course, I'm going to give you a high five for being awesome the next time I see you in person. So we're going to do this type of thing. I'm going to just throw the sound effect out there. So if you pre-order the book on the site, it's sponsormagnet.com. Then you can grab those pre-order bonuses. I got a bunch of amazing testimonials as well, some FAQ, and just look at how the cover turned out, guys. If you're on my email list, you may have seen the kind of evolution of the cover, because I was sharing versions of the cover as I was going through them with the designer. So I don't know. I'm just so thrilled with how it turned out. Let me know in the chat. Did you pre-order the book? The whole day I've been seeing pre-orders rolling in, and I set up an automation every time someone pre-orders the book, I get this little chat in my Google workspace. So it's been a good day. I've been feeling very grateful. It's been pretty awesome. So Trey Kearney says, love your content. A bunch of high fives or claps. Thank you. I appreciate that. We've got the Roberts Casa tuning in. Only a Goddess tuning in. Gregory Verstralen. Good to see you here. Thank you, Trey. I appreciate it. Congratulations. All right. Okay, so let's dive in to the topic today, which is why is brand deal feedback so stupid? Mecca. Oh, Mecca's tuning in. Mecca. I apologize. I recognize your name. We were just corresponding about you were having some issues purchasing it. I'm trying to figure the issue out. So I don't know what the tech issue is, and I'm communicating with the technical team about that. So I'm going to get back to you. So I apologize about the hiccups there. All right. So okay, why is brand deal feedback from brands so stupid? So here is, I just want to start this off, but by just sharing like some real hilarious feedback that my wife and I have received from brands over the years. Number one, we've received something like, "Hey, can you reshoot this with a different color shirt?" It's like, really? Are you serious? Or, "Hey, you didn't synchronize your dance moves enough." Like, okay, really? Or, "Hey, I know that we said that we wanted you to write this in your voice, but we changed our mind." And so, you may be wondering, like, why do brands pull this stuff? And so what I'm going to ask you to do is put on your empathy hat. Okay. I do this a lot. I say, okay, let's just imagine that we are the brand for a second here. But first and foremost, I want you to imagine, for example, let's say that you are a podcaster and you hire a consultant to help you promote your podcast, right? You've maybe spent years growing this podcast and you have this kind of profound connection with your audience, right? You're also probably very sensitive about creative decisions related to your podcast, right? So what would you do if that consultant that you hired created a promo that just kind of felt off, right? You might not ask them to redo the whole thing, but you probably would ask for some tweaks. Okay. Now, instead of a podcast, imagine that you worked for a large brand that has many different departments. They're each run by different managers, maybe with different motivations, right? And so every time that you hire an external partner to promote the brand in any way, you have to collect feedback from your boss, maybe the VP of marketing, maybe the legal team, maybe the public relations agency, maybe the paid media team, right? And hey, there's corporate brand standards that you have to uphold, that you're reminded, right? The messaging has to be extremely precise because the last time that you partnered with someone influential, they said something inaccurate and your customer service lines got overwhelmed, right? These are real things that happen. Oh, don't forget the legal exposure, right? Can't get sued, right? And your boss, they just failed to tell you that this campaign needs to be finished in the next 5 days, right? You don't want to lose your job, right? So because you're hoping to get promoted this year and maybe get a raise, right? So you ask the partner if they can submit the revisions within 24 hours so that you can be the hero internally, right? So whether this is right or wrong, stupid feedback is usually the result of these types of dysfunctional company dynamics. And it really does not have much to do, if at all, with you. And so my advice usually in these types of situations is just suck it up, right? And just make the stupid revisions because they're probably paying you good money after all. And by the way, one thing that I talk about a lot in the book is it's not just the brand's job to send you feedback. It's actually your job to send the brand feedback as well if you think part of their conversion funnel is broken. I can share a quick story here, which is that, one time I inked a newsletter sponsorship with a financial services company. And when they sent me the landing page link that they, wanted me to direct my audience to, I immediately knew that we had a problem because the landing page just did not properly articulate the tool's value proposition well. I felt like the offer was kind of confusing. And most importantly, nothing signified that my audience was in the right place. Right. And so, you may have experienced this before. Maybe you clicked on an ad or someone said, go click the link in my bio or something. And then you land on the landing page and you're like, wait a minute, this landing page is kind of disconnected from what that person was talking about. I don't really understand. It feels like I'm in the wrong place. Have you ever had that experience? Or maybe you've clicked an ad on your news feed or something on you saw an ad on Instagram or something. You click it and it's like, I don't know what page maybe they put you to their homepage or something. You're like, I don't remember what was I trying to click on again? Right. And brands do this all the time. Sometimes it's error, sometimes it's ignorance, this type of thing. And so in this situation, instead, I told the brand, hey, I would love to actually create a unique video asset, which I was not contractually obligated to do, by the way, to explain in more detail why I love the tool. I would kind of include this video. I said, hey, we should like maybe include this video above the scroll on this landing page, including like a large headline that says, hey, why Justin Moore loves, the tool or the brand's product or whatever. And so I also suggested that we should change the copy on the button to clarify the offer. Right. And I told them like, hey, all of these things are going to pull my audience further down the purchase funnel. And the brand was floored. Why do you think the brand was floored? Let me know in the chat. Why do you think the brand was floored with these types of suggestions? Well, it's basically because not only has no one ever given them that, no one had ever given them that level of feedback before, but they just couldn't believe that I was willing to do additional work to ensure that the campaign was successful. But why wouldn't I? It is in my best interest. It's in your best interest to do everything possible to drive more conversions, right? Because what do you think is going to happen? That's going to increase the chances that the brand's going to want to hire me again. Right. And you may be thinking, yeah, but Justin, I am not a copywriter or a user experience expert. Right. What if the brand thinks my suggestions are dumb? And you don't need to be an expert, and they're not like on these types of things, and they're not going to think you're dumb. You just have to pretend that you're like one of your average audience members. Right. If you clicked on the sponsors link, would it make sense to you? What is confusing? Right. What would make you immediately want to sign up or purchase it? A big part of becoming a sponsor magnet, which is what I talk about in the book, is just kind of rewiring your preconceived notions of what's normal when collaborating with brands. Screw what's normal, right? I want you to strive to be abnormal. Okay? All right. So how are we feeling, right? Anyone in here ever received stupid feedback from a brand? Drop it in the chat if you've ever received crazy feedback from a brand and you were just floored. You could not believe that they were asking you to make these changes. We've got Brooklyn, Scotland tuning in on Instagram, Persian Skater, 50 Shot Wellness, Danelle Lalaine, potentially. The Cooking Mawa. And Be Naturally Lovely tuning in as well. I have so many different stories of crazy feedback that we've gotten from brands. One thing I was actually on a you probably know, you've heard me talk about this, that I'm doing this like crazy, insane podcast tour right now for the book. I'm trying to guest on 100 podcasts in the next 2 months or so before the book comes out. I think I've done 6 so far, so I've got my work cut out for me, but I've got probably about 30 or 40 on the schedule so far. So it's definitely like making strides. But this is one of the things I was talking about is that, I know I share stories or challenging aspects of collaborating with brands oftentimes on my platforms, on my live streams and things like that. But what's typically not talked about very much is the awesome aspects of collaborating with brands. To be candid, most people find themselves coming into my orbit or my ecosystem when they're having issues, right? They have an opportunity that they don't know how much to price it. They are having challenges with a brand who's asking them for complicated revisions, and they don't know whether they should charge the brand more for this and these types of things. And this is when people usually, take my course, hire us for coaching, this type of thing, right? But if you're just like an average kind of everyday casual creator, most of the time you are not thinking about the nitty gritty of sponsorship operations, sponsorship strategy, right? Most of the time you're not. You're focusing on your craft. You're focusing on making better content, whatever type of content it is, whether it's videos, podcasts, posts, newsletters, events, whatever it is. You're not sitting here thinking about the minutia of your sponsorship stuff. And so, I think it's like and to top it all off, if you ever do see other creators in your industry or your niche talking about the types of sponsorships that they do, whether it's on Twitter or TikTok or something, it's almost always complaints. It's like, oh, this brand's trying to screw me. They're trying to give me free stuff in exchange for the product, or they gave me a really insulting lowball offer, or this brand's being really difficult and their invoice, their payment is delayed, or whatever. If you're on the internet long enough, you've probably seen these types of gripes. And so this is one of the reasons why I decided to start creating content, to begin with, like 4 years ago, was that I didn't see anyone sharing the other perspective. It was like basically, people would only go to social media to like kind of talk crap about working with brands. And I never saw this perspective that like, no, brand deals and sponsorships are awesome. Like I've done literally thousands of deals, hundreds personally, thousands through the agency. And I can count on one hand the amount of deals that truly went south or that actually like truly were awful. And so the vast majority of the time it was amazing. And I didn't really see anyone sharing that perspective. And again, it's like, I get it, right? It's like Yelp. If you are in the US, Yelp is like the tool that, the software that people use or the website that people use to like review restaurants, review services, things like that. But the majority of the time people only go on there to talk crap, right? And so, I just felt like it was important to inject another perspective into the conversation. And so this is one of the reasons why I decided to write the book, is because I felt as though this distillation of everything that I believe all around how to create a robust sponsorship strategy, how to become a sponsor magnet, how to make more money collaborating with brands. I felt like I needed to have a simple way to reach, to touch that casual creator who's not really thinking about sponsorships. Because honestly, like, $1,500, which is the investment level for my course, or, $300 a month or whatever for coaching, or $1,000 a month for group or private. That's a pretty steep threshold for most people. Right. And so $15-20, whatever, to plop down for a book, on the other hand, feels like a kind of a low risk way for someone who's kind of curious about this to learn about it. And at the end of the day, that's what I really care about the most, is like, impact, is reaching as many people as possible. And this is just a bet I'm making, though. I don't know if this is like, if this was the right move or not. I feel like it's going to be, because man, I mean, this was the hardest creative thing I've ever done, is like write this book. And so, I guess maybe I'll revisit this in a year or 2 years or something and see if like this was the right move or not. Spending all this time writing this book and figuring out, how I can, plan the launch and get it in as many people's hands as possible. Man, at some point I'll have to do an episode about like the entire launch strategy. I've actually been releasing a few podcast episodes with my buddy KC, who's I hired him as my book launch strategist. We've done so much behind the scenes to try to get, figure out how to get this book in as many hands as possible, including this podcast tour I mentioned, but also, I have reached out to basically everyone that I know. Everyone in this industry that I know who might be willing to support the launch, and basically ask them, hey, would you be willing to send out a newsletter about the book, or have me on or post on social media, or whatever, like whatever you'd be willing to do. Would you be willing to share about the book? And I've just been so floored and shocked at how many people have said yes. But like it takes it's been. I don't know. It was a hard thing for me to do, to like kind of ask for a favor, so to speak. So I should do an episode about like everything that we've done to try to launch this book. One thing I'll share, which is kind of a low light. I don't know if I even call it a low light, but like I think I mentioned that like I hired a book coach early on in the journey before I'd even started writing, for an entire process of creating the perfect book outline, exactly what I should be writing, what I should be including in each chapter. And I spent $10,000 on that. And the crazy part about it is that I ultimately scrapped that book, the book that I did that whole process with the book coach, creating the outline. And I have a full outline for this other book. And I ultimately scrapped it, and that was painful. It was really painful. I can just share like what it was, which is, I have this belief that like 99% of creators should not hire managers or representation. And so that book was called originally Fire Your Manager. And there was a bunch of problems with that book. Number one was that people they heard that title and they thought, oh, so like fire your 9-to-5 manager, like fire your boss, right? And I was like, no, it's like fire your manager, like your person representing you as a creator. And the problem with that is that I have these two types of personas in my audience of creators that I serve. I have the influencers, right? The TikTokers, the YouTubers, the Instagrammers, this type of thing. And those people got it. They're like, oh yeah, like your talent manager. They understood that because that's a kind of a normal thing when you're an influencer to think about, oh, I have a manager or a management company helping me. But the other type of creators that I serve, which is kind of more the non-traditional creator, the authors, the course creators, the newsletter operators, the coaches, those types of people, they never it never has ever occurred to them like, oh, I'm going to go hire a manager for like what I'm doing. And they're getting sponsorships, right? And so I serve both of these types of people. And so I ultimately decided like that's, the reason that the catalyst that actually got me over the edge was I was having a conversation with my friend Pat Flynn of Smart Passive Income. And he basically, I shared this like dilemma that I had with him. And he said, this is the sunk cost fallacy. Because you've invested 10K and you've spent so much time going down this path, you feel like you have to keep going down that path, kind of like throwing good money after bad money, kind of, right? And he's like, just stop. You don't have to do this. Plus, you've already learned a lot about the structure process of like, what you need to do when you actually write he basically was like, you need to write the sponsorship book, Justin. Like I had this limiting belief, all of this kind of scarcity mindset that like, if I, revealed all like kind of my special sauce, so to speak, and kind of shared everything in the book, that no one would hire me for coaching or no one would join my course or whatever. And he's like, no, it's 100% false. You're actually growing the TAM, the total addressable market of your customer base by writing this book on sponsorships. Because again, going back to what I was saying earlier, like the vast majority of people are not thinking about this type of stuff from day to day, right? So anyways, like it's a long-winded explanation of like, I feel like the book is the right thing. It was the right thing for me to do at this juncture, the book and the event, right? I've got the in-person event happening in March as well, called Sponsor Games, which, by the way, we've sold a bunch of tickets. So if you want to come and join us, it's going to be an amazing 3-day event in San Antonio, Texas, March 16th to the 19th, sponsorgames.com. But anyways, I'm going to dive back into the chat because I've just been going off on this tangent. Jessica DiPietro says, I just pre-ordered the 10-pack for Christmas gifts this morning. I can't wait to get it. Thank you so much, Jessica. So real quickly, again, the book isn't going to come out until January 21st again. So, you may have to put like a little IOU in the Christmas gifts, because the pre-order is the pre-order. Like, you got the bonuses and all that, but that books actually won't start shipping until, January 21st. So, but DM me, maybe I don't know, we could figure something out maybe, but yeah, just wanted to clarify that. And again, holy cow, the 10-pack, I almost I fell out of my chair when I saw that, this morning, because, my wife April recommended that last night. I actually didn't have the 10-pack on there, but she was like, come on, you need like a YOLO package. Like, just come on, like just put 10-pack on there. And I was like, okay. And so like literally late last night at like 10 PM, I added the 10-pack and multiple people have purchased that. So anyways, thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that so much. Charisse says the book goes live on my birthday. Let's go, Charisse. There we go. I just knew that it was going to be your birthday on that day. And by the way, just a quick shout out to Charisse. Charisse actually is going to sponsor games. She bought a ticket. I'm so stoked to see you there, Charisse. So happy early birthday there as well. Diving back into the Instagram chat here. Yes, Persian Skater says, oh my God, so excited you're writing a book. Yes, sponsormagnet.com. In fact, I am going to pull up I should have done this before, but pre-order my new book. And I'm going to put a URL to it here in the chat, sponsormagnet.com. And I'm going to add it, boom, right here, sponsormagnet.com. And I'm going to add it and I'm going to pull it up right here. Boom. I should have done this before, but there we go. Can you see it? Pre-order my new book, sponsormagnet.com. Yes. And Meg Creates 2.0 says, I would be gracious for any PD job I get. I have to finish my portfolio, but I feel like I don't know what I actually need to put in it. I got you, Meg. Great to see you here. Let's see here. Trey says, we appreciate you. It's the right move. A Persian Skater says, I've been wanting to join your course and I'm so excited to listen to your book. Yes. So, with respect to, let's talk a little bit of inside baseball here about the book. So I am going to be doing an audiobook, of course, and I'm going to have all sorts of crazy sound effects on it. Let's go. It wouldn't be an audiobook if I didn't have my own sound effects on it. But yeah, the audiobook is going to come out probably closer to April. And a couple of reasons. One, I am just so overwhelmed with actually getting the book launched, just the normal book launch. So just to actually record the audiobook and proof it and QA it and all that stuff to be ready at the same time as launch was going to be just too much. Also, I just looked at it as like another marketing opportunity. Probably around the April timeframe when the audiobook is ready. That's another launch. There's another excuse to like start being a loudmouth on the internet about it again. And oh, awesome. You know, the audiobook is now live. I can email my newsletter about it and all this stuff. Right. So I think there's like there's just like a lot of opportunity to just, I don't know, continue to talk about your thing. I heard this stat from Matt, who is the VP of marketing at Lulu. And they're, you know, my publisher is the Tilt. Tilt is part of Lulu. And I was at the CEX, the Content Entrepreneur Expo last year, or I guess earlier this year. And they shared this stat that like the vast majority of authors, they just, you know, sales kind of peak the month that they release the book. And then it just goes, and it just craters, right? And the reason is that authors just kind of stop talking about the book. They've been working on it for a year, 2 years, and then they just stop because they feel they mentally are kind of done with it. And ever since I heard that statistics, ever since I heard that piece of advice, I was like, okay, I am not going to be a casualty of this phenomenon. I am going to be a massive loudmouth about the book for as long as humanly possible. This is all I'm going to talk about, and I'm calling my shot here. I think that I'm going to sell 100,000. I am going to sell 100,000 copies of this book. It's going to take me 4 or 5 years to do it, I think. But I just feel so optimistic about the word of mouth potential that this book can have, mainly because it's just a really good book. It's super useful. It's super helpful. And if you did nothing else, if you never joined my course, if you never hired us for coaching, and you just spent $15-20 getting the book, like you are absolutely guaranteed going to make more money on sponsorships. Like I have no doubt in my mind. And I can say that because like people have gotten those outcomes. All the things that I'm teaching in the book, a lot of it is incorporated in my program. And so I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that I'm going to make it happen. It's just a matter of how long. But like, you know, if I don't call my shot, if I don't believe in myself, if I'm not a loudmouth about that on the internet, then no one is going to be a better advocate for yourself than than you. Right. And so I'm going to do whatever I possibly can do to like get this book in as many people's hands as possible. And what I've heard a lot, I've listened to so many different books about marketing your book. And in fact, hold on, I'm going to grab something. Hold on. I literally just bought this book. It's called How to Sell a Book, What I've Learned Selling 100,000 Self-Published Nonfiction Books. And I was like, this is exactly what I need, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm excited to read this. I just got this. But it's like, I'm trying to do everything I can to like, you know, just be a student to the process, to learn this stuff. You know, the one piece of advice that Rob Fitzpatrick gave me, who wrote Write Useful Books. I don't know if I have that one over there. Uh-oh, my phone is ringing. Sorry, I didn't silence it. There we go. Sorry. Why? That is very weird. Do you ever have it where your book or your phone rings, but there's no call? That's very weird. And it's not an alarm. Very strange. So the advice that Rob Fitzpatrick gave me is find a way to get your book in 1,000 people's hands. That's your goal. Especially, you know, because my book is what's called a useful book. That's his, you know, a term that he coined. Then you just have to get it in as many people's hands as possible. And then word of mouth is going to spread from there. And of course you need to put in the work and talk about it and go on podcasts and do the whole thing, which of course I'm going to do. But like, what do you need to do to get this book in 1,000 people's hands? So like, that is my short-term goal with the sell 1,000 copies during the pre-launch between now and January. So we'll see if I can make it happen. So 50 Shot Wellness says, I can't wait. Well, I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. I can also not wait. We got Best Boy Benson tuning in as well. Cherie says, I love that goal. Let's go. Yes. Thank you. All right. Oh, we got some. Okay. So yeah, this is perfect. Let's shift into some questions. Cherie says, random sponsorship question. I want to get sponsors to send me to the Star Trek cruise and Comic-Con cruise. That's reasonable, right? So let's split some hairs here. Do you want to get sponsors who will that are unrelated to these cruises? It's more like I want to get some deals to fund the ability to go on those cruises, or you actually want to be sponsored by those cruises. So maybe you can let me know in the chat, because that would be two different approaches. I would think. The one of the tricky things about the travel and hospitality industry. There's a few industries that are kind of like this. Travel and hospitality, definitely. Tech is one that comes to mind, where you've got this like almost like saturation of creators, of influencers in that niche who are more than happy to just get the free thing. Get the free cruise, get the free new piece of tech, because it's expensive to like go on, to actually obtain those things out of your own pocket. And so the strategies that you need to employ to actually stand out amongst all those people who are like totally fine accepting free stuff, it needs to be a bit different than other industries. Oh, Cherie said here in the chat, I want to get deals to fund me going to the cruise. Heck yeah, there we go. I mean, this is like any other financial goal that you set for yourself. Is like, okay, what's it going to cost for me to go on these two cruises? 10 grand, 15 grand, whatever. I know they can be kind of expensive depending on the room you select. And then work backwards from there. Okay, so when do I need to put my deposit on those cruises? Okay, that's in, let's say, 3 months or something. Okay, what do I need to do in the next 90 days to be able to have the cash in hand to actually reserve those cruises? So from my perspective, that sometimes, a lot of times brands take 30 to 60 days to compensate you. And so, you probably need to be forging those deals and executing on the deal, meaning actually, go live or activate within the next 3 to 4 weeks. I'm making up a timeline here, but like, right, you see how this works. You kind of have to work backwards. And this is actually a good exercise for anyone here that's listening who has financial goals in your own life, right? Whether it's a big purchase you want to save up for, whether it's paying your rent or your mortgage with some of the dollars that you're earning from sponsorships, whatever. You kind of have to work backwards to understand, like, okay, if I want to actually have this money in hand in a reasonable timeline, I probably got to get my act together here to ensure that I can forge those deals. You got to allocate time for the pitching process. You have to allocate time for actually negotiating, contracting, right? It's my sponsorship wheel, actually putting the concept together, which is step 4. Then, once that's greenlit, doing the production round, then, time for the brand to review those assets and provide feedback, which is the next step. Then once that, there's probably going to be 1 or 2 rounds of revisions, maybe that's necessary. Then you finally get green light, and then maybe they want you to go live in a week or 2 to align with other assets that are going live for the campaign. Then once it's published, you have to analyze it. You got to put your own, a wrap report together, which includes both the quantitative metrics, right, which is the actual insights or analytics that, come from doing those deals. But then the qualitative insights, right? And I call this a post-campaign report. And so then is when you can finally invoice them, and you put your vendor paperwork together and you put your tax paperwork together and you send that to them. Only then is when you invoice them and you're putting the, net 30 or the net 60, meaning like you're going to be paid in 30 to 60 days based on whatever was in the contract in terms of the payment terms. That's when you're going to get the money. So 30 to 60 days, or maybe hopefully not 90 days from when you finally post, you're going to get that money in your bank account. So Charisse, my advice would be to just kind of start working backwards on some of that stuff. The other thing too that I would mention on payment terms is that, this is something I talk about in the book, is like everything is negotiable, right? So the brand may come inbound to you with a contract template that their legal team has, and they say, okay, it's going to be net 60 upon completion of services. This is like a pretty standard 30 to 60 days upon completion of services. And you are totally within your rights to go back to them and say, hey, I'm going to need 50% of this up front. Upon execution of the agreement at your standard payment terms, right? So net 30 from execution of this deal. and then the balance upon completion of services. And I estimate that, this is always a standard thing that my wife and I do. And I would say probably 75% of the time, the brand is like, okay, all it took was us asking for that modification in the agreement. And then you kind of get that first chunk of money going right away. And then, the other 25% of the time when the brand says no to that and they're like, no, take it or leave it. We literally can't pay you. This oftentimes happens when you're working with agencies on behalf of their clients because, the agency may want to put some clause in the contract that says something like, basically you don't get paid until we get paid. Cause, oftentimes if it's $1 million deal that the agency is executing across 100 partners, the brand may not actually remit payment to the agency until everything's over. So it's like, there's like these buffers that they have to build in, and that sucks. It's annoying. But what I always say is like, that is trying to fight that battle with an agency. It's a losing battle. You have to pick your battles, right? And just, again, this is the one that I see from people like, talking crap on social media all the time. It's like, how dare the brand? What do the brand think we are? Are we a bank? What do they think? We can wait 90 days for payment. Any other, if I ever hire someone else, they pay what you have to pay up front or whatever. And I hear you. I get it. I also feel that sometimes, but it's a losing battle. This is just kind of the way it is and the way it's always going to be, in my opinion. If you really need that money right away, there are services out there they're called invoice factoring companies where they will purchase your invoice for a percentage, either a flat fee or a percentage. Maybe it's 1% of the invoice value. They will pay you within 24 hours and then they go chase the brand. And so if you're the type of person who just gets really emotional about, having to wait for payment, just go out and do that. Don't take the fight to the brand. It's a losing battle. This is my spiky point of view on this subject, because I know some people get emotional about this type of thing. Sheree says, yes, that makes sense. I will break down 2025 actions to hit those goals in early 2026 when the cruises happen. Thanks for this. Yes, of course. And you know what, Charisse, because you are going to sponsor games, you are going to be in a perfect position to start making those 2025 actions happen. I guarantee you're going to walk away from that event feeling like you're going to run through a brick wall because holy cow, the stuff that we are planning for the event are going to be so dope. So I absolutely cannot wait to see you there. Charisse, if I may, would you be willing to just share a couple quick thoughts in the chat about why you decided to buy your ticket to sponsor games? Because this is one thing this is my very first in-person event. And I just am I think it's going to be I know it's going to be so useful to be in person and there's going to be pretty much the whole event is going to be role playing. It's going to be, we kind of walk, basically I've turned my 8-step sponsorship wheel into 8 different games that you're going to be playing throughout the event. And so, like for example, you can imagine the pitch game. There's going to be a lot of role playing about, okay, imagine that you're this type of creator and you're trying to pitch this type of brand. And here's the problem that the brand is having. And we're going to be doing kind of this role playing and we carry that throughout all of the different games. It's going to be so useful. I have found that role playing in general, actual real kind of that practice, that real practice is what is going to help you get to that aha moment and get those big step function improvements, those kind of inflection points in your business. And so me and the team have just been kind of deep in trying to figure out how can we get through to people to help them realize that this event is going to be truly impactful in their business. But I get it. It's also an investment. Not only do you have to buy the ticket, you got to get there, hotel, plane, if you're not in the local, area, whatever. And so I'm just trying to understand, what do I need to do to help people understand that this is going to how powerful this can be. Sheree says, I bought a ticket to sponsor games because I know I need hand holding and community around sponsorships to help me fully understand and implement all of the steps. Plus it sounds super fun. All right. Well, that is so useful. Thank you, Sheree. I had a feeling it was community, hand holding, accountability. So feeling knowing that we're kind of on the right track is very, very useful. So thank you. I'm so excited to have you there. All right. Let me take a swig and then I'm going to get back to it. Again, if you have any questions all around the topic of sponsorships and brand deals and negotiations, pitching for 2025 deals, whatever it is, please drop it in the chat because I'd be so happy to answer it. All right. Actually got another follow-up question here from Charisse. I am in the sci-fi space, so I assumed that agencies are not for me. Should I give agencies and brand deal apps another chance? So I'm curious, like, why do you not think that they are for you? I wonder if, okay, so this is what I'm going to assume. Let's say that you're on my newsletter. And if you're not on my newsletter, what are you even doing with your life? Creatorwizard.com/join. I send you sponsorship opportunities every week for free. Come on, let's go. Okay. Sorry. I gotta be right. Shameless self-promotion here. I imagine maybe you're a creator on my newsletter and you see the opportunities that I'm sending out each week. And it's like, they're looking for a lifestyle influencer or a food influencer or a beauty influencer or a tech influencer or something. And you're sitting here thinking like, I have a very, very specific niche. And it doesn't seem like any of these brands are trying to look for the type of creator that I am. And here's the permission that I want to give you. Twofold. One is an explanation of like why that happens. It's a supply issue, right? Because the vast majority of brands who are putting out proactive campaigns where they're trying to recruit people, usually it's the large conglomerate type companies. They're trying to cast the widest net possible. And so those are the types of criteria that they place on those activations. They say, oh, we're looking for these XYZ type of people, kids with the ages of this to this, or, creators who have kids with the ages of 8 to 12 or whatever. And so they think, okay, well, I guess I can't apply because I'm not that. And so the permission that I want to give you is, number one, just understand that there's just a larger supply of those types of campaigns. Because if they tried to create a campaign, we are looking for sci-fi creators who are on YouTube or have podcasts or whatever, they're going to get like almost no responses because there's not that many types of those creators, right? And so the permission that I want to give you is like, even if you see an application or you see, a campaign on one of these brand deal platforms, and even if you don't exactly specifically fit the mold that they're trying to recruit for, you absolutely should feel empowered to submit an application and explain to them in the application why you believe that you'd be a good fit. Probably it's something along the lines of like, hey, it doesn't seem like you ever tried to target this type of customer persona. And guess what? I actually have a very engaged audience who would love your product for the following reason. And oh, by the way, I have psychographic data to back up why that is. This is one of the things I talk about in my book, Sponsor Magnet, is how important it is to be surveying your audience, whether it's using a Google form and understanding more about the problems, what's keeping them up at night, like what are the types of brands and products and services that they're using and loving. These you're getting this data back so you have more colorful texture beyond your audience demographics, which frankly is not that useful, right? Yeah. Okay. It's good to know where people are located and their ages and their genders and all that. And of course, that's good. But really, I want to know like what's keeping them up at night, because it's so much more useful for me to then engage with the sponsor proactively and say, hey, I have this big segment of my audience that is having XYZ issue. I think that your brand is a great solution for this issue that they're having. Let's talk. How much more powerful of a pitch is that than, hey, I love your brand. I've been using it for 3 years, your product. Everyone says that. That's table stakes, right? And so when you're submitting these applications, Charisse, for these brand deal campaigns, you can share that story, and you may not land every deal, but you may cause the brand to think, wow, like let's actually engage with Charisse because we've never considered going after that type of customer before. So again, I say this all the time: you're not just a creator; you have to be a consultant. You have to understand, at the end of the day, the brands want to sell more widgets. They want to sell more stuff. They want to get more clients. They want to get more awareness about their product or their service, whatever it is. That's their goal. And so your job is to infer based on the application, that the criteria that they've laid out, how you can serve them. And again, this also applies not just on these applications, but also if you're doing proactive outreach. So you mentioned, should I be thinking about the agencies or the brand deal platforms? And we talked about the platforms, but the agency side, again, they have the same charge from their brand client. It's either awareness, repurposing, or conversion, ARC framework, ARC. Those are the three objectives that the brand is going to have, or the agency is going to have because their brand client told them that's their objective, right? And so that is your job, is to try to infer that. And so when you reach out and pitch them, you're ensuring that your pitch is positioned around something that it seems like is important to the brand. Okay, so absolutely, it doesn't matter if you're niche. It's about helping them understand how you can serve them. Okay. All right. Rescue Fit said, hey, Justin, we'll watch this back tomorrow on the way to work. Can't wait. Of course, man. Appreciate you. All right. Okay. If you are listening or watching, can you drop a 1 in the chat? Can you drop a praise hands emoji? Can you drop the diamond, the mind blown emoji, something? Let me know you're still here, because I feed off the chat. If I don't see the chat, then I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna lose my energy. I need questions from you guys. So if you don't give me questions, then I'm gonna fall asleep here. All right. We've got, let's see here. We've got, your Tampa bestie just said pre-ordered. Your Tampa bestie just pre-ordered the book. Thank you very, very much. Persian Skater says, will you have an affiliate program for the creators who get results from your book? 100%. I already have an affiliate program. If you go to creatorwizard.com/affiliates with an S at the end, you can already become an affiliate, apply to become an affiliate. And you can you can recommend my course or my coaching program already. So I haven't decided whether I'm going to do an affiliate program for the book, like just for the book, because margins are already pretty slim on the book. But that's a good question. I'll have to think about that. But your Tampa bestie, thank you so much for pre-ordering it. I appreciate it. What about if you wanted a deal with the actual cruise company, hotel, airline, travel? That's been difficult. Yeah. So going back to this thing that I was talking about earlier about certain niches being harder to get compensated deals in certain industries, what I talk about a lot is like, you have to help them question their current strategy, right? So for example, if everyone who they have hired to go on a cruise for free, let's say, there's probably going to be some sort of deliverables required in exchange for the free cruise, a certain number of social media posts or whatever. There's two questions that you can ask them. Number one, you can say, oh, like that's awesome, super cool. Glad to hear that you're getting a good response, from people who are willing to just accept the cruise for free or whatever, you can say it gracefully. And you say, I'm just out of curiosity, are you getting paid media rights to those creators' content in addition to just them posting on social media? Because if you're not, that's actually something that I specialize in. So let me know if you'd like me to send over the investment options for what that might look like, right? So now you've caused them to think, oh, we're actually not getting paid media rights when we just let people come on our cruises for free. They're just, it's just in exchange for content. So that's one. All of a sudden they think, okay, maybe let's have a conversation with your Tampa bestie, because no one's ever asked us that. And actually that would be useful to have rights to the content to run paid ads. The second thing that you can say is you can explain to them that, when they are, engaging someone for just free exposure, like free content, it's very, very difficult to ask for revisions from those creators, or even to see the assets before they go live at all, because there's nothing like the goods have been, or the services have been rendered basically, right? So the creator goes on the cruise, which is the thing that they wanted. And then when they get back, there's really nothing that the brand can, other than like being annoying about it, the brand is just going to be like, okay, can you post it? Like, when are you going to post it? Like, can we see it before it goes live? Like, the creator is not going to be as responsive because they've already gotten the thing. They already got the carrot. The carrot was being dangled, which was the cruise. And then they got the thing. And so there's not, unfortunately, there's not as much incentive for the creator to like follow through on what they said that they were going to do. Right. And so it becomes very difficult for the brand to come back, the cruise line to come back and be like, hey, can you edit, can you number one, provide me a draft of this content before it goes live? And number two, can you provide some edits on this because you didn't like talk about the cruise properly, or the dates are wrong or whatever. That's a really, really important thing. And so you have to, this is the conversation that you have to have with the cruise line or the sponsor, help them understand that when there is compensation involved, there is a heightened level of accountability on both sides. So when the creator is still waiting for something, which is payment, there's rightfully more control that the brand has over those assets that ultimately go live, or the assets that the brand ultimately is able to repurpose for paid advertising or social media and things like that, right? And so let me know how this is hitting, because this truly is these two things right there are a reason that kind of differentiates you from all these other people who are like willing to accept it for free. Does this make sense? So yeah, let me know if that was helpful in the chat. Okay. All right. So and tell Megan in the IG chat says, your coaching program is the bomb. It gave me the confidence to negotiate the perpetual rights in the contract. Let's go. Come on, let's drop it in the chat. A golf clap for Megan. Awesome to see you here, and I'm so thrilled to hear that you're feeling so empowered and that you were able to negotiate that. I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. We've got the Confident Pitch tuning in on Instagram. We've got, let's see here. I wanted to see if okay, okay. We've got some thumbs up, I think, from, or what is this? The heart emoji from your Tampa Bessie. So glad to hear that it was helpful. All right. Okay, we got some questions over here on YouTube. Motivational Mark Dorcia said, I just pre-ordered the book today. Well, you know what, Mark? I appreciate you very much. Thank you. That means a lot to me. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Nitin Chaudhary says, a design and architect event in June has reached out to me to bring brand sponsorship. I have proposed them a fixed baseline amount for the first plus 10% kickback, and they have asked me for KPIs, fixed fee for the first 3 months. How should I approach the KPI submission to them to ensure that I'm not overpromising? So Nitin, can you clarify in the chat, do you have a platform and the brand is saying that they want you to promote their event for them and they want it to be, and you're asking for like a flat payment to promote it as well as a 10% commission? Or are they engaging you to get sponsors for their event? Like you are actually selling the sponsors to their event. So clarify for me, because my advice would be different in those two scenarios. So appreciate you asking the question. Megan says in the chat, yes, my son Teddy heard you say my name and asked if you would talk to him as well. What's going on, Teddy? All right, Teddy, can you let me know in the chat, how old are you, buddy? Because I have two kids. I have two sons. They're 7 and 10. Their name are Jacob and Liam. So let me know. I have two kids. Let me know what you're into. My oldest son is really into Harry Potter right now. And my younger son, we're into scouting. So yeah, let me know what's going on. What's important in your world right now, Teddy? 4. All right. So 4, if I have to think back, Teddy, on what my boys were really into at 4, probably Paw Patrol, the Paw Patrol movie. They were really into that. They were really into Blippi. I don't know if you're into Blippi, but my boys were really into Blippi. Monster trucks. Okay. Holy cow. Well, Teddy, I took my son to Monster Jam. I don't know if they have this in Australia, but Monster Jam is pretty awesome. You go to this big like convention center and they build these like big dirt ramps in the middle of this, and they just drive these big monster trucks off these ramps. They do flips. I don't know, Megan, I don't know if I'm like signing you up for something. I don't know if they do this in Australia, but that was pretty amazing. My 4-year-old, I think my son was 3 or 4 when we did this. So it was 10 out of 10. Highly recommend it. Even I enjoyed it. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So, Nitin said, they've asked me to come on board as a consultant to represent as one of them. Okay. I get it. Yeah. So in terms of like the KPI submission process or how you should think about KPIs, I mean, probably what they're going to want to see from you if you're asking for a flat amount to, I mean, like just a little bit of inside baseball. I mean, this is the kinds of things that I did when I ran an agency. I was never retained in the same way like you are. Because I was connecting the brands with creators and forging these partnerships and things like that. But if I were you, probably the KPIs that I would be providing them, because from their perspective, they're like, okay, if we're going to pay you a flat amount of money for 3 months to actually do this for us, plus 10%, like how do we know that you're actually not just going to sit on your hands for 3 months and not do any work? And so probably the KPIs that they would want to see is the number of outreach, number of outbound outreach that you're doing on a weekly basis, for example. And maybe this is just something as simple as Google spreadsheet where you're entering in every day or however many days you're doing outreach. You're basically create kind of a sales CRM. You could probably do this in something like Trello, like a simple Kanban board where you can track all the outreach that you're doing, so that they can feel and track where each lead is at in the process, and you just kind of move those cards along to each of the So you start with one card which is like all the outbound, the pitch. It's pretty similar actually to my sponsorship wheel where we've got the pitch, and then once you get a lead, you add them to the discovery call, let's say. And then from the discovery call, you're in the qualification stage where you have to put the proposal together, which is the negotiation section in my sponsorship wheel. And so probably just starting to track some of that stuff would give them the comfort that, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He's tracking it. And I think that'll probably help close deals. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Good. Best of luck. All right, let's see here. Megan says, yeah, we went to Monster Jam. He loves Gravedigger. All right, there we go. Well, okay. So I don't know if I have any other recommendations outside of Monster Jam. Monster Jam that was my jam. All right. Okay. Belford Williams, Jr. said, appreciate your content, man. Enjoyed meeting you at YouTube Summit. I learned a lot from you and your advice has really helped me a lot. Awesome. It was so great to meet you as well, man. And glad to hear that it's been helpful. Great to reconnect there. Trey Kearney says, you're so awesome to engage with him. Well, you know what? I'm first and foremost a dad, or a husband and dad, before I'm a sponsorship coach. So no, I don't know. I really, I feel as though, I'm also in scouting and I was like a den leader in our Cub Scout pack. And it's a different type of my brain is activated when I can mentor, I think, or just like interact with kids and like perhaps play a role in their development and to becoming, good citizens in their community and things like that. So I really enjoy that. So I appreciate you saying that. All right, let's see. Holy cow. I don't know how this live stream went so quickly. It always seems like it goes quickly. Let me answer this question from Motivational Mark Dorcius. I was thinking on starting with cold calling companies because I feel like it's easier and faster to get a hold of the right people. How would you recommend I go about that? So, man, if you feel confident to start cold calling, that you are instantly differentiating yourself from the vast majority of creators because most people are petrified of doing that. And so if you're comfortable doing that, absolutely, by all means, do that. I think cold calling is something that is a bit harder post-COVID, candidly, because so many people work remotely now. You used to be able to call into, let's say an ad agency or a brand headquarters and pretty easily figure out, who was using LinkedIn, for example, figure out who was on the marketing team or the exact content that you wanted to call, based on doing your sleuthing on LinkedIn and things like that. And then you just call in and using the phone directory, figure out their extension or ask the operator and they would literally just transfer you. And it's a bit harder now that people are not in the physical offices. Some brands do have it where it remotely rings the person's cell phone if they dial their extension, but a lot of brands don't have that. And so it's harder, but not impossible. And so if you want to consider doing that, by all means, man, do it. But I do think though that you should supplement your cold calling strategies with outbound email, because I honestly, I still think email can be really effective. But, one thing that you'll see once you get your hands on the full book is the way in which you send that pitch is really important. The two things, the two kind of the 50-50 of the, sending the right pitch is what are you saying and who you're sending it to, right? Because if you say something that's very narcissistic, which is like, hi, my name is Mark. I've got this YouTube channel. I've got all these followers. I've got these demographics. I love your brand. Let's collaborate. That email is going to get ghosted. It's going to get deleted. And so you're going to convince yourself that pitching doesn't work. When in reality, that's not what you should say. You have to focus your pitch all on them and help them understand that, you can help them accomplish a business outcome by sponsoring you. So it's a positioning exercise, but also the other 50% of it is like who you sending it to. Because if you're just DMing the brand on Instagram, or you're sending it to, the press email on their website, and you're getting some boilerplate response back, then again, you have to triangulate who is the best person that, I need to be sending this to maximize the chances of getting a response. And so I actually have this, I spent so much time putting these kind of graphics together, charts and tables and things like that. In the book, I have this one chart where I say, okay, this is I think I call it the job title targeting matrix. So based on the scale of the organization, like how many employees do they have? Is it 0 to 15? Is it 16 to 100? Is it 100 plus? These are the types of titles that you should target, right? And so this is the type of kind of art and science of doing these types of outbound prospecting. But I have no doubt that you're going to figure it out, and I appreciate you pre-ordering the book again. All right, guys, we are at time. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have not pre-ordered my book, Sponsor Magnet, you can go to sponsormagnet.com. I have it out there on the screen, and I have a bunch of pre-order bonuses. So if you want to get access to the first chapter, if you want to get access to my 15 negotiation scripts to start, helping you make more money on your deals ASAP, and a high five the next time I see you in person. Don't you want those things? Sponsormagnet.com. Appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you all on the next live. Peace.